Right back at you on the Real Kipper and Bourne Show. Leaf Hour edition. Nick Kiprios, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, Derek Brandeo, and Jake the Snake Schultz. We are live on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, Sportsnet 360, and Sportsnet Plus. Just prior to leaving the studio, off air, of course, a light bulb went off. And I gave you guys homework to leave the studio. And based on where we are with the Toronto Maple Leafs, I just said, guys, give me like 5 storylines on where maybe in the last 10 years the Leafs may have veered off. I don't know if it's an 18-wheeler like Brian Burke days, but it kind of veered a little bit. So give me 5. And then you guys looked at me and go, "You're so negative." And I said, "Oh, wait, hey, give me 5 positive ones then too."
There it is.
And then
there
you were like, "Now, okay.
All right.
Now I'm on board." So
I believe Borny's response was, "No way."
Yes, that's right. You're right.
In the end, it was Sam will do it.
So a little later on, we will go through the last decade of where we think it went well and where it didn't. And maybe that's why we are where we are with the Toronto Maple Leafs today.
Yeah.
So it sounds okay?
Yeah, so over the Shanny era, basically.
Basically, yes.
Good moves, bad moves, over the Shanny era.
Sounds good to me.
I have
Sounds good to
13
me.
bad ones and 8 good ones.
Sounds like you have enough for the show, pal.
What's that?
I have 13 good ones.
Okay,
I have
good.
13 bad ones,
Good,
8
but,
good ones.
You know, it wouldn't be right to go right into them now without at least advancing the Toronto Maple Leaf storyline. And there are various reports out there, including Sportsnet.ca, where our Elliot Friedman confirmed that the Maple Leafs have granted permission to the New York Islanders to speak to Brendan Shanahan.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Hard to imagine a world where you would let your team president speak to another team while you intended to keep him, right? Like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I think you're right on the surface, but if you, I don't know, go a little deeper, I'll expand my thoughts, but basically that's where you're at. Like, basically, you're not going to keep a guy that you're granting permission.
Yeah, you've like mentally moved on from him if you're saying, yeah, you can have him. However, I guess there is a chance that it's like, there's nothing better than what we have, so go take a look.
Well, okay, it's well documented now that his contract's coming up.
In
Okay.
June, I think I read.
Yeah, June 30th, maybe.
Yeah.
So, like a player with a contract coming at the end of the term, is he treating himself like a free agent? And he wouldn't be the first guy to cover his tracks like everybody does it. If we knew something was coming that was imminent with our jobs, the first thing we'd probably do is maybe, I don't know, look for another job.
Right.
So could it just be as simple as Brendan going back to MLSE and saying, you know, my contract's up. I got to cover myself. Would you mind if I look around?
I think the fact that he hasn't been extended yet gives him full right to go ask that question. I think it's probably easier to ask the question. But I do think if they had concluded they wanted him to stay in the role with the Leafs, they'd just be like, well, hang on. Let's talk about your contract here first before we get to that.
Let's have a meeting.
Yeah.
That they're supposingly,
let's sort through this. That's going to be there in a week or whatever, a few days.
Can I give you another scenario?
Of course. Yeah.
Brendan's coming off a very, very lucrative contract. Exactly what, I don't know. but we know was often referred to as one of the highest.
Mm-hmm.
Could he be in a scenario where he wants another contract like that and the Leafs or MLSE is not prepared to give him that much, but they'd still like to keep him around, but
Right.
we're not going to pay you that much, but we would pay you this on maybe a shorter term deal. Is that a scenario that?
Well, I mean, it's possible. I don't think that Scott Malkin and John Ledecky of the Islanders are going to give him $7 million to be a president or whatever he made here. I don't know. I'm throwing numbers at the wall.
But if you're Brendan, wouldn't you try?
Yeah,
wouldn't you
yeah.
try?
But
Kyle
I get
Dubas is making 7 in Pittsburgh. Why can't I
Sure.
go to somewhere else?
Yep.
Yeah.
Can I create a bidding war? Am I any different than any
Yeah.
pending free agent to go out there and shop for my services?
Well, I guess there's an element of the Marner situation here with Shanahan where it's like you're well within your right to do that, and I see why other people covet you, but like it doesn't work here anymore. You know, would the team here just be like, it doesn't?
Well, I think that's fair for
Right.
sure. And maybe that's what's going on
Yeah,
right
go ahead
now.
and take a look. Well, we're going to talk tomorrow, and this is going to
But-
be irrelevant anyway.
Maybe they offered him a contract already, and he's trying to see if he could make it better.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Can I just say something about all this?
Mm.
It sucks.
Yeah. The Shanny part?
Yeah, just that we're even just here. You know,
Okay. But we are, Sam. We are.
I watched last night, and I saw the Florida Panthers, who the Leafs fought tooth and nail with the 7th game of the series, and they laid a big egg in Game 7. I realized that, but they were close with the Panthers. And I watched them walk into Carolina and just put an absolute
job.
beat down on the Carolina Hurricanes. And it's like, I think back to Game 3 where the Leafs hit the post in the dying second, or maybe dying minutes of that game. Morgan Riley down the left wing. I think of the 2 separate 2-goal blown leads.
buddy.
Like,
Hey.
I think about all this stuff, and it's like, we're so close to coming in here on today where we would be breaking down the Toronto
1.
Maple Leafs Game 1, and we're like, oh, maybe Shanny's talking to the island. Like, oh my God. Like,
I know, but
Oh.
Sam, it's
no, I'm
the
sorry.
reality.
I'm being honest.
I know.
This sucks. I
Okay.
hate having this conversation.
Do you not want to participate in
No,
this
we
conversation?
can't. We can't.
Okay, listen, I'll
We
give you
can't.
some quiet time in the corner,
no,
Sammy.
I'm always in the corner
Okay.
anyway. But I know that there's some Leaf fans listening to this that saw the result from last night or tried to even watch that game, which I'm sure there's
the Leafs would have
I'm sure there's millions of people across this country that were like, I can't bring myself to look at the Florida Panthers.